Welcome back. Here we are with today's question. This one says, Vinny, I need help. My first stop smoking client stopped coming in. Didn't make it to their final session. Oh, okay. So your final session is your fourth session. I got it. They didn't quit between 2 and 3. She lists a bunch of things she did to help them quit, like different techniques, modalities, things like that. I don't know if it's embarrassment or resigned to the idea that she can't stop. Okay. There's a lot to consider here. So, yeah, in terms of help, okay. First thing, it's very easy to be hypnotized by the client's problem, especially if you're working at this symptom level. I'll talk more about that later. So what I mean by that specifically, like in the language that she can't quit, the belief that she can't quit, that's already an indicator that something's wrong. You take a step back, you think about what's required for someone to quit smoking. I don't want to paint with too broadly of a brush because everybody's different, and we've got to be able to work with that individual to be able to do this at a high level. But there's a difference between can't and won't, right? People quit all the time. So if what's in her mind is that she can't, that shows an absence of taking responsibility. And I know that might feel true, but there's so many counterexamples. Folks doing it. We have to almost deploy a little logic here as a counterexample. So we don't want to fall into that trap, right? There's going to be certain things in their mind we've got to help them get free of that. I think this is critically important. It's very powerful, right? When you start working beyond the symptom, that kind of stuff just goes away because it gives their unconscious mind an opportunity to create resources to solve that real problem. Then it's like the smoking's like, who cares, right? They just make a different choice. So, okay, let me backtrack. I'm thinking about too many things at once. Yes, choice, commitment, responsibility. These are the types of things that I typically see show up in a new way for people. Again, we don't want to paint with too broad of a brush here. Just being a little cautious about that. If you're working in a very driven, protocol-driven sort of way with folks, or script-dependent way, what can happen is you might say, okay, 4 sessions. And how would you know that's the final session for her though? Because everybody's different. I help people quit smoking, the majority of them less than 45 minutes. I've helped people as quick as 22 minutes, 35 minutes, a bunch of these, right? Someone in 25 minutes. Now, this isn't to say that taking longer is bad or wrong. I would have had no way of knowing how long it's going to take that person going into it. So think about what that does to your mindset as the beliefs you're bringing into the session, all that type of stuff. You're thinking a certain number of things have to take place for them to get to that final day when they're going to make the decision. If you solve the problem underneath the surface, it doesn't really matter, right? The smoking just goes away as they process that change. It's a very organic and powerful way to work with people. So 4 sessions, 3 sessions, folks say I have a 1 session protocol. They're all guessing. And I know it might be based off some experience, but to the extent you can't really guarantee that with anybody. And in doing so, I think puts a lot of pressure on you. It puts pressure on you to perform. I've only got 4 shots at this. It puts pressure on the client too. My goodness. Some of these folks, I help people quit smoking. They've been 4 packs a day for decades. And the idea of them walking away from it very quickly for some is very daunting. Some people are just like, I want this out of my life. I can't stand another minute of this. However, others, they're gonna want to ease into this. It's a big life change for them. So that's why when we teach you how to get to the root cause, it's great, the problem's solved. Then we teach stuff like creating time for processing, because that's the most important part of a session, is what takes place after you do the work with somebody. That is by far the most important part of the session. The change takes place in their mind, right? Their mind has to integrate these changes. So I think this is absolutely critical for folks to understand. So I hope this helps. I want to take a step back though, because You should be very happy. I know there's a bit of discouragement here, but you should be very happy that you went out and did one. There's tons of people in this industry that have never done that. You've already gone out there and got one out of the way, and the outcome wasn't what you expected, but this is by far, this is the path to mastery. You've taken action, you've done it. What's that old Erickson quote? Change leads to insight more often than insight leads to change. Right? Change leads to insight. So the insights are just going to continue to pour in from this experience. And I always say that we have absolutely phenomenal teachers in this industry, right? There's just amazing people out there. But that's absolutely true. And I think they would agree with this statement that the most important teachers, at least I think it's true, the most important teachers have been clients where things went wrong. It makes you reevaluate, reassess how you're working with folks. So I think this is absolutely great.